Also, the Buddha said in one sutta, at one time, a Brahmin, a type of high caste Indian, came to see the Buddha. And he told the Buddha that their clan of Brahmins, they have a belief that when any one of their relatives passes away, they quickly take out his corpse and they hold his corpse with their hands. They hold the corpse high and facing heaven. And they believe because he is facing heaven, he can see heaven and the direction to heaven. So they call out to his name. For example, if his name is Ali, they say, Ali, do you see heaven there? Go towards heaven. So they believe by showing him the way to heaven, that he can go to heaven. His linghun, his soul can go to heaven. So he said, Bhagava, now you are a Sammasambuddha in this world. You are an Arahant Sammasambuddha. You have psychic power. We believe you can bring all of us to heaven. No need to shout and pray. Can the Buddha bring all of us to heaven? So the Buddha didn't want to answer him directly. The Buddha said, before I answer you, I'll ask you a question in return. You answer me first. The Buddha said, suppose you all went to the side of a lake and you took a big stone and you threw the heavy stone into the pond or lake. What happens? The stone sinks into the water. So when the stone is sinking, you all shout and praise the stone. Good stone, clever stone, float up, float to the shore. Boleh? Cannot, isn't it? Because the stone is heavy. So the Buddha says, in the same way, when a person is dying and he has done a lot of evil, that evil karma of his will drag him down to the woeful plains of rebirth. So when he is pulled by his karma down, you all come together and you shout and ask him to go to heaven. Can he go to heaven? And the man said, cannot. So the Buddha said, now suppose another day you all came to the edge of the lake again and you took a cup that was half filled with oil and you threw this cup into the pond. Now, as the cup is sinking, the oil will float up. Because oil is lighter than water, the oil will float up. So suppose now you all come to the edge of the pond and you shout and curse the oil. You stupid oil, you go down to the bottom or sink to the bottom of the pond. So the man said, cannot, because the oil is lighter than water. So the Buddha said, in the same way, when a person is dying and he has a lot of good karma, he has done a lot of good deeds, and he has not done evil deeds, this good karma of his will bring him up to heaven. So even if you curse him and ask him to go to hell or to go to the animal realm or to the ghost realm, he will still go to heaven. So in other words, what the Buddha is trying to say is that karma is the most important thing. What we do, we have to pay for it. Karma is intentional action. So if you do something intentionally, purposely, you have to take the consequences for your action. If you help other people another day, your good actions will bring you to a good rebirth. If you harm other people, other beings, then your rebirth will be into the woeful plains of rebirth where you will suffer. Now all of us want to go to heaven if possible, or at the least we want to come back as a human being, right? Because the Buddha says there are 5 destinations of rebirth. 2 are happy destinations of rebirth, namely the human plane and the heavens. But there are 3 woeful planes of rebirth, the ghost, animal and hell realm. And the Buddha says most of us, when we die, we are reborn in the woeful planes of rebirth. Even our Chinese also will believe, isn't it? When your relative passes away, they say, 7 days later, the spirit will come back. And true enough, very often, the spirit does come back. But not necessarily 7 days. Sometimes 6 days, sometimes 5 days, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, come back. And when they come back, they make signs for you to know that they come back. For example, you can hear footsteps walking, but you don't see anybody. You can see the window opening and closing, but you don't see anybody. The lights get switched on and off, or the fridge door was open and closed. Still hungry. So, you see, they want you to know that they are around. And why do they want you to know? Because they need your help. When they are reborn in the ghost realm, they are suffering. So, they want us to know so that we can help them in some way. When we know that our relative is reborn in the ghost realm, we should try to help them. And the Buddha said, we should make some offerings to them. So normally if a person is reborn as a ghost, only then can you help that person. And when a person is reborn as a ghost, that person needs mainly two things, food and clothing. So normally Buddhists, we make an offering of food and clothing to monks if possible, and we transfer the merit to our departed relative. If we can't make an offering to monks, like certain places you don't have monks, then you do charity, either to old folks' home or orphanage or something, and you transfer the merit to them.